Hi there, I'm at the set of Second Opinion Studios with Daylover here.
Hey.
Alright, and we're taking, I guess it's the Zaldin movie challenge. I don't know if he came up with it or if he just spread the idea around, but, yeah, not movie challenge, MLP challenge, which, yeah, is your top 5 favorite episodes for pretty much all the characters. All the main characters, anyway. Heck, I guess it could be any category you want it to be in, but yeah, we're starting with the main characters. And today it's going to be our top 5 favorite Applejack episodes, because Applejack is her favorite character. Only you're using Fluttershy's quote right now.
Yeah.
But, okay, and, yeah, Applejack is kind of infamous for not having that many good episodes. I think she was almost a meme for a couple seasons there, that she was practically a background pony, that all of her episodes were just repeats of the same premise, not doing anything new with it, not really doing anything that fun with it, just basically, yeah, broadcasting that the writers couldn't think of anything else, and I do sort of agree, actually, but much to my surprise, I did manage to come up with 5 great Applejack episodes. Like, I think that, heck, even if she did trail off there sometimes, I mean, I don't know if that would be the case for all the main characters, so, heck, looks like she didn't do too bad. I did have to include a few episodes that she shares with other ponies, but
Yeah.
still counts.
I also have that, but we agree, like, if we can set them in where we think, like, it's about those.
Yeah, if it's about that character, it counts. If they share it with another character, heck, if all the characters are in it, but it's more about them than anyone else, it counts.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
and a great episode is a great episode, so would you like to go first?
Sure. I have, at my number 5, I have the last Roundup, because I really like the thing Applejack does with trying to get, don't know if it was money or the first place for stuff. I could really see myself, like, looking almost like Applejack here, was trying to, you know, accomplish something, and getting caught up in almost lying and stuff like that with it, just because you want to get further, and all of these surprises with what was it, Cherry Jubilee.
Cherry Jubilee!
Finding out that finding out that she have actually been there before and helping and trying to get back to her family with all of these great achievements. Like, sometimes you also have to, you know, back down a little bit and, yeah, be thankful for everything. But it can be hard if you're not getting what you want. And of course the breaking of the pinky promise is fun.
No pony breaks a pinky promise! I take it back, my voice is fine.
Yeah, sure.
I thought that was about what it sounded like.
Yeah, but, yeah, just like the overall story of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, to me that episode was kind of the start of Applejack's problems. Like I said in my first ever written review back when I was doing this in blog form, that, okay, it is without doubt the best build-up for a mediocre payoff you are ever gonna see. And I mean, there's a ton I love in that episode. I mean, I was basically, really into it all the way up to the end, and I mean, I think where it went wrong for me is thinking that, okay, all it needs to say about, like, all of this that's been going on, been building up, okay, what happened to Applejack? What is it that's eating her so much? Is exactly what you'd expect and nothing more. Like, she didn't win the blue ribbon, that's the twist.
Yeah.
And that, like, and she doesn't want to go home and admit it. I mean, that's like...
Well, I think it's a good way to teach children that you know, should tell your family and friends that stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's true that, like, Applejack, okay, she feels the need to take this responsibility all onto herself, and I mean, we've seen that before, but I mean, it's like, I feel like what the writers were, not considering is, there's totally more you could do with that. Okay, you could explore, like, okay, what is it like to be Applejack? What goes into taking all of this responsibility? I mean, we saw just
other episodes for that as well.
Well, I mean, we already saw in Applebuck season that she feels the need. It's like, okay, so like heck, what is it? What happened to her at this fair, this what was it, this rodeo, I guess it was, because I mean she was a blue ribbon winner in the past, and I think some people were debating whether the implication was, okay, she's won it before, but now she's somehow past her prime at however young the ponies are supposed to be, or whether, okay, she was a big fish in a small pond and now she steps up a league and can't win it. And actually, heck, I kind of miss stuff like that where, okay, the ponies weren't necessarily the best at everything she tried, whereas fast forward to what was it, Appaloosa's Most Wanted, and she's the best again, it's okay. So you don't have to worry about that. Applejack had her happy ending after all, so just don't even think about it. But
still like nice to learn that you should be happy even though that you didn't win first place.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of fun. Like there's nothing about the moral that is like wrong.
Yeah.
Applejack, we'll find a way to fix the roof. If you don't come home, we will never mend the hole in our hearts. And like that's all good. It's just like, I mean, it feels like, I mean, heck, it feels like the reason it spent all the time on the build-up, which I meant when I say it was a really good build-up. I love the chimichanga thing, and I'm on Team Chimichanga, by the way. But I love the I Love Lucy reference with the red cherries and the yellow cherries.
Yeah.
I didn't love the bathroom joke. Like, I love Pony would do one of those, and before the humor started getting like a little more frantic, a little more just eager to please in some of the later seasons, it could totally do stuff like that and get away with it. That was adorable. I found her, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, okay, it seems like, okay, you can kind of see how this is what I mean when I said it was kind of the start of her problems. You can see how the writers are kind of thinking like, I guess that's all there is. Just like, okay, well, she was stubborn, or she was being too responsible again, like, ain't that how it is? It's like,
I just feel like she really learns from this episode, or how to say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is the episode right after where she's willing to accept the friend's help now, so, and I guess that counts as an arc, but I mean, it's like, but then even after the episode right after this, they're still doing she's too stubborn, she's too responsible.
Yeah, stubbornness and pride is like...
Yeah, and I mean, I know the counter is like, because I stick up for Fluttershy, like learning to be more assertive in all sorts of episodes, but I mean, I felt like in, Putting Your Hoof Down versus Hurricane Fluttershy, they were doing something a little different. They were going into the different kinds of challenges that can come with that. Applejack, I mean, heck, I don't feel like they were looking into it at all here. It was, she still wants to be all responsible and stuff. Like, they barely spend any time on it at the end, and I don't know. Tell us about, like, what a crushing disappointment it was to not win that blue ribbon. Like, what happened? Was she so close and falling apart? Heck, Cherry Jubilee said that she never saw a pony win so many ribbons, so was it like Applejack is the jack of all trades, no pun intended,
it's
just like something!
It's the expectations, it's like too high for the other ones. But you have over number 5.
Alright, yeah, so, alright. Let's see, there's a reason people were so tough on Applejack. I think they knew she had it in her, but and this is one of those
high expectations. Gotta learn.
Alright. Heck, the show earned those high expectations, like people were watching in the
that's
first
true.
place. Oh, but I did feel it hit her stride again in episodes like Viva Las Pegasus, my number 5. This is one we're going to disagree on, but so wait, didn't we talk about this already in one of the videos on your channel?
Yes, we did.
Okay, but
so you guys know.
Okay, but yeah, I really like Viva Las Pegasus, and I mean, especially in season 6, like, I'm gonna be quoting myself a lot today. There's only so much you can say about each episode, but yeah, my top 10 episodes of season 6, I was like, okay, Viva Las Pegasus was that really rare thing in season 6. An episode that overachieved. And I mean, I still kind of think it's true. It's like, I mean, in a season where so many plots felt kind of phoned in, Viva Las Pegasus, even though it's just another map episode, okay, let's just go to another destination, just run into more ponies we know who have X problem. Like, okay, it just, every single step of the story, you can tell they're thinking about it, they're getting in, it's actually a pretty clever episode, and you can't say that about every episode. Flim Flam, I mean, they were always fun, don't get me wrong, but this is maybe the first episode where I thought they came across as legitimately clever. I mean, you know, they knew some tricks before. They knew to use a shill in Family Appreciation Day, and I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, it's standard stuff. But here, it's like, you believe that they know all these schemes they're talking about when they're like, how to get Gladmane back. You know, the Baltimore Flare, my Flare isn't what it used to be, and, just, because heck, the scheme they actually go with, you know, heck, this episode knows right how to play it. I mean, they're, going over each step, they're, yeah, well, granted, this is, like, a lot of it is cartoon logic, like, some pony could just show up and claim to be the richest pony in Equestria, but to be fair, yeah, part of their plan was that Gladmane is going to see through that, so, I mean...
But I will agree with you, it had its highlights, but I still don't like that they're... doing the things to Elvis, but yeah.
Okay, well, I mean,
Never
we'll talk
mind.
about you, but I mean, okay, first, to at least explain the rest of why. I feel like both Applejack and Fluttershy are really good in this one. Like, Fluttershy...
I will agree with this,
I mean, heck, I believe she's still the element of kindness. She reaches out to the Flim Flam brothers and tries to help them, even though they're the Flim Flam they're being, extra stubborn towards each other. That's maybe the one thing it could have done a little bit more, is show us how, like, what exactly Gladmane does, but I mean, yeah, that's one where I'm willing to say, like, okay, they showed us enough. They showed us how he sets himself up as that supportive friend who's so nice, you don't even realize it's an abusive relationship. It did enough for me to buy it the whole time, and it never dropped the ball, and which, that's saying something. Like, I liked how, at the beginning, you weren't totally sure, who was at fault for what. I mean, Gladmane, he's a new character, so he's either got to be the villain, or he's got to be a really significant key player, but it's like, okay, you weren't totally sure at first. I mean, until Fluttershy's asking around, it's like, okay, so Gladmane is playing ponies against each other. But before that, it's like, okay, I mean, maybe it is just more something that's wrapped around the Flim Flam brothers, I mean...
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Heck, but, okay, and I said Fluttershy's good, but, okay, I actually do think this is an Applejack list, and I do think Applejack is even better in this episode.
Yeah, I will agree with that,
I think that, okay, I mean, a lot of, some people criticize this episode, like, you're still mad at the Flim Flam brothers. Get over it. No, you do not get over it. I mean, you don't, like, let it, ruin every day they're not around, like, you don't obsess over it. But no, you do not just... If somebody tries to screw you over, tries to screw your loved ones over, okay, I mean, I feel like people get a little too into the main hero mindset, like, oh, you're supposed to, I mean, they're the heroes, okay, this is the step to being your perfect heroes, you do forgive everybody, and heck, some people even look for ways to put it back on the main six. Be like, well, you could technically take some blame, so if you're going to be the heroes, like, this image needing them to be perfect. Okay, no, that is not remotely realistic to think that, okay, you should just, like, turning the other cheek is good, but you should, trust ponies who have shown that they're willing to screw you over, to screw your family over, just for the sake of doing the right thing. Okay, I mean, there is, like, kindness does go into it. I mean, Fluttershy, she has her say too in this episode, but realism really also goes into it. Yeah. Like, okay, you need to keep a good head on your shoulders, and I mean, and actually, and what I like even better is that the episode, it doesn't try to flip the script on Applejack and say, see, if you'd only trusted them, like, no, because the Flim Flam brothers' problem was not the real feud here, and they did not change their ways at the end, as sometimes ponies don't. Applejack, she was right to trust her instincts, to keep her head, and, I mean, she tried to help them when she did legitimately think there was a good reason to think that good could come from it, but I mean, okay, before that, no, you don't put important time and resources into helping someone like that. I mean, it's, okay, like, kindness is good, it's important, but self-respect
Yeah,
is also
yeah,
important. So,
Yeah.
just all the way across, I am 100% with this episode. And I mean, it managed to do this, what should have been just another offhand conflict, really well. And, okay, sold. Like, that's at least good for an A-. But the problem, the reason it's not going to be on your list...
Yeah. It's because like they portray Elvis bad. I would have bought it more if it was the manager, right? If it was Elvis
Colonel.
and the manager, I would have loved it almost as much as you.
Colonel's one of those controversial
Probably
figures,
even
like,
more.
he-
It would be on like my top 3 if it was somebody that I knew that was rude and doing wrong stuff in real life, but I don't see a reason why to.
Yeah. I guess just the reason that doesn't bother me so much is, like, I don't really see Gladmane as, like, basically Elvis, just
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
in pony
but
form.
still.
Like, yeah, I mean, I kind of see him as just drawing some mannerisms from Elvis.
Yeah, but
like, I mean,
children are still going to make the connection, though.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
Gladmane, he has his gray hair. I mean, he doesn't look entirely the same. I mean, there's, like, Elvis is just such an icon. I mean,
Yeah, but could they have maybe given him other mannerisms and it would have been the same, or?
yeah. Well, it is kind of fun. Like, in spite of, you know, me not thinking that you're really supposed to take Gladmane as a representation of Elvis, I do kind of love that he acts, that he has Elvis mannerisms. I mean, it's
Yeah, I like
kind of a
that
lot
in
of
the
fun.
start until they turned him like doing all of that wrong stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah.
But I mean, like, what, the Honky Tonk Man from the WWE, he played an evil Elvis impersonator, and I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
the
that's
Elvis
true.
impersonators are a thing, and I mean...
Yeah. But are we moving on a little bit,
So,
or?
actually, the funny thing is, the closest argument you could make that Gladmane is supposed to be Elvis is that Elvis, when Gladmane's saying, like, how much he likes to do for his friends, Elvis apparently was a very generous guy.
Yeah.
For whatever his flaws might have been, but, alright, so I guess you're up next. Number 4.
Funny you should mention Flim Flam, because my number 4 is super squeaky. 9,000, no, 6,000, it's because it's over 9,000. No, I just like, I really, actually I think I'm one of the few people that really likes Flim Flam. And the first appearance that they have in the show is just like the song and all of this that they do to, you know, try to take over the farm. We see that in real life as well, like companies trying to take over smaller businesses and all of this. So I really thought it was clever with them, and also like that that Applejack actually doesn't learn anything. I'm so sorry. I just
You can kind of see it there too.
feel
but,
like
yeah.
I can also see myself in this actually with you know this, but actually after watching it a couple of times, Flim Flam still have won the bet, because like they made more cider, but
Yeah,
it's bad
or it's
and
technically
stuff
a
like
lot.
that, and I'm just like, well.
They could still keep the land if they wanted to. It's like it's an abridged explanation
Yeah,
on the way
but
out. Like,
I'm
well,
just
nobody
like,
wants
if-
our product, so I guess
Yeah.
it's totally worthless
If
to us now.
If it's not drinkable, I do feel like, yeah, the Apple family won with their hard work and stuff like that. And we really see here, like, hard work and all of this makes effort. And I know, like, she says that she didn't learn anything, but I really like the overall
How about
moral
don't
that,
bet your entire
that I
property
see.
when you have absolutely nothing
Yeah.
to get. Literally, that nothing is on the line in your favor.
Yeah, I really like that that they drive them out and everything goes right again. So yeah, but I know that we're not going to agree with this.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's not that I don't like this episode. I do. Heck, I like last Roundup too. But I mean, yeah, neither of them made my great episodes list. Although this one, it's not really because, like, I think they didn't get the picture with Applejack's conflict. I feel like it's fine for them
Yeah.
to have an episode where she's like, I was right all along, you know, heck, you know, sometimes a stick to your principles episode is good, but although you can kind of see it there too, like, well, geez, Applejack's just too good. What could we possibly have her learn? Because yeah, leader types never have any problems, do they? But
you had a over number for it.
Nah. Oh, what? You don't want to talk about it anymore?
Sure.
No.
We can go on forever.
My number 4 is the main attraction.
Yay!
And, yeah. Okay. And yeah, I mean, heck, letting Applejack be the supportive friend in an episode, I mean, okay, even if it's more Rara's arc than hers, that's a really good role, heck, for both of them. I mean, I really buy this flashback with, yeah, how they were just on each other's wavelength for a while, and
then lose contact.
It's like, Rara was just so easygoing, and like the 2 adorable kids just kind of playing and being easygoing. I mean, it doesn't say too much, doesn't say too little. But although, truth be told, this episode, okay, if I'm going just by, okay, how well it delivers on, yeah, each arc and stuff, it might not be one, it might technically be one that doesn't deserve to be called a great episode. Might be, I mean, it's kind of...
Still a good song, though.
Yeah, well, I don't, like... even the song is just like, okay, the villain is pure evil. It's like, he's identifiable, like you do, and one-dimensional at the same time. It's kind of like, I mean, this episode's almost a conundrum, because I mean, I don't know, like, as far as fighting against, like disproving the things it doesn't like, I mean, it's like almost wishful at best. It's totally pushed this marketing to the side. Who cares about that? Like, what has that ever done to benefit anyone? And you sing a song about what means the most to you, and like that speech. I ran into a very old friend, and she told me that if I was true to myself, I couldn't go wrong. Like, oh, gee, that doesn't sound like a Cliff Notes of every Believe in Yourself speech we've ever heard.
No.
Heck, I forget Cliff Notes. That feels like the exact same. Believe in yourself, and you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, like there's moments in that song that do kind of speak to me. That there's just heck, like the image of this singer just finding an image that she can actually stand behind.
By,
just I mean, and like heck, Applejack and her, I mean, them in this, well, heck, it does kind of capture some of that, like, okay, we used to be friends, but I'm famous now, you're technically not. I mean, Applejack is kind of a hero of Equestria and all that, but I mean, but all they really have to go by is that they used to be friends, and they really meant it when they said they were friends before. But it's like, okay, do you put your stock in that? Do you put it in, like, okay, I've got a lot going for me right now, and I mean, that, in the present, not in the past, and I mean, so, who do you trust? But then, okay, Applejack, wins out because she's such a good friend. It's, I mean, it's like, okay, in spite of the fact that, okay, if it were just a matter of, like, what points you can pick apart, I guess it wouldn't be a great one, but it's not. It, like, this episode, I feel like, delivers, I mean, there really is kind of something to it. It delivers powerfully enough so that I can, put it on my Great Applejacks episode list anyway.
No, it's not on my list, though. It feels bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
I really like it, though, and like, I think like it has great shining moments and stuff like that, but it's not like...
Oh, yeah. That song is almost a perfect microcosm. First verse is something like, I'm here to show you who I am. Her name is
Imagine
Lara.
if,
like, There's more to me than glitz and glam.
Like,
I mean,
I
that feels
actually
like
think
just
that the Gaga did that as well, right? Or maybe
I
in
don't
future she will
know.
do.
Yeah, Lady Gaga, inspired by
Going
My
normal.
Little Pony. But then the second verse, that like it's stuff that it feels like more thought went into. Like, what does she say? Now
Yeah.
I feel those colors see those colors right before my eyes. I hear my voice so clearly, and I know that it is right. I thought I was weak, but I am strong.
Yeah.
It's like script flipped. I'm like, okay, now that I actually kind of feel.
Yeah.
Like,
But I also like the synthesized version she does in the start. It really sounds like Lady Gaga.
It does
It's
too.
it's just like, oh my god, they can't be more obvious right now.
And I mean, like, that's where, it does,
And her entrance in this black stuff. Well,
that's where it does kind of let Sven Gallop have his say, like, okay, he does something, he's able to
Yeah.
create performances like that you can see why
Yeah.
some people would go for it. It is kind of fun in its own way. And I mean, like, okay, yeah, it's not like a dumb episode, it's just like, it's heck, for better and for worse, it is what it is. It's a wishful episode. It is a really, like, hardcore, chips all in, wishful episode for better and for worse. So I'm like,
I will agree.
okay,
So,
flawed greatness.
yay.
We'll go with. And over to you.
Number 3 is Apple Family Reunion. Raise this blind, raise 1, 2,
Oh,
3, 4. No, stop. Just like I am a family person, so I really like that they're all getting together and all of this. And again, stuff is going wrong for Applejack because she's trying to make stuff perfect. And I can see myself doing this, trying to be a good hostess for my friends or my family, and when you went to Denmark and stuff like that, you just want everything to go perfectly, and when stuff happens, it's almost like the episode repeating itself. And I do like that Granny Smith is looking in the album, and all of this. Also, that's the first episode where we actually see something to the parents, like the stars and stuff like that, and it just hit me, and right in the heart. I'm so sentimental, I know.
But okay, disclaimer: when I came to Denmark, she did not go. Ready for the next thing?
Almost though. Do you remember we had to go to the hotel and you were sleeping, and it was just like, let's go now because
I must be really vulnerable to jet lag. I got knocked out there for a while, but but no, that's understandable. Like the Apple Family Reunion, even more than the last two, it's like the definition for just like Applejack episodes that could have been knockouts, but like keep coming back to the same problems. I mean, it's like each time, like last Roundup was only the start. Like each time, it's like they care about her less and less as a character, and more like, okay, well, she's stubborn. She's not her perfect self when she has these flaws.
Fluttershy, we need to we can't learn, even though that we learn the same stuff over and over again, it's not the same, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not for her either.
I don't know, like with Fluttershy, where it felt like more and more personal, like, okay, here's yet another way that, okay, being this way might hold you up, something you might have to overcome before you're ready to rise above, like all the way up to, well, that's kind of a spoiler for my Fluttershy list when we get to that, so never mind.
What's your number
but Applejack,
3?
it feels less and less personal, like, I mean, where last Roundup it was like, okay, its problem was it was just too brief, it was like a little Cliff Notes thing at the end. Like, this one is like, they feel the need to turn Applejack into this caricature, like, okay, next thing, you need, like, hey, let's do, I turn the event into a marathon, isn't that going to be fun? You have to do this, and
sometimes you overthink your, list for what to do. Right?
I know, I know what it's supposed to connect to, like, I just didn't buy it. And it's another one I want to love so much. I really like Raise This Barn. I do like the Star symbolism. Like, I mean, good does come from this episode, and it's not a bad episode. It just...
It's not on your list. What is your number 3?
Alright. My number 3 is Fall Weather Friends.
Oh, okay, I see that, yeah.
And, actually, I almost wonder if it should only be number 3. That this is, for whatever reason, I haven't come back to this episode. Well, heck, there's so many episodes. There's some you're just not going to come back to. And I don't make a habit of rewatching things, because I'm...
yeah, I know.
Like, my critical philosophy is that the initial reaction is the context you were meant to experience it in. Like, alright, so give me more things to taste and to
experience,
satisfy, fulfill my soul. But okay, well, I do also really like ranking things though, so that's where the downside comes in. And actually, like, when I talk about just all my favorite things about both Applejack and Rainbow Dash, like how Applejack can be a character beyond just, okay, she's the most mature, but she's also stubborn. And when I talk about how Rainbow is flawed, but like not a bad person. Okay, we already know you can call them people, but this is the episode I find myself coming back to a lot. Like, okay, how Applejack, okay, she is mature. I mean, she can rib somebody like Rainbow Dash. She's teasing her a little about the horseshoes in the beginning, but I mean, how, okay, she is a good sport. She is kind of a warm personality. I mean, she is, even when Rainbow starts cheating, she kind of looks the other way. She's like, be a good sport. But I mean, like, you know, still though, okay, it does eat her. You know, she does take pride in, her abilities and doing stuff well. And I mean, it like gets to the point where, okay, I mean, maybe that heck, another problem if the writers needed more flaws so bad, like it almost, where it has to be kind of all or nothing with her. Like, she's trying to take the high road, but she doesn't know what else to do until, like, I can't take it anymore, starts accusing Rainbow. And Rainbow, I mean, she doesn't mean any harm per se, but it's like, okay, but getting someone mad at her still feels better than admitting defeat. Like, okay, she'll, she, like, Applejack starts accusing, you used your wings for almost half of those. Like, okay, well, yeah, but you didn't say I couldn't use my wings. Like,
but it should be,
she'll stand by it. But I mean, well, yeah, it's like she knows she kind of knows she's guilty there, but she stands by it. And yet, like, she wasn't looking to cheat at the start of the final race either. But I mean, she when she trips, like, and Twilight points out that she just tripped, like, she still wants to blame Applejack. It's like, okay, you can kind of see how it is a complex with her that, yet she doesn't necessarily mean any harm, but she, that need to win starts to, bring out the worst in her. And then, after enough of it, because Applejack really wants to win too, and and doesn't appreciate being screwed over, so Rainbow does kind of bring Applejack down to her level, and like, and even though, and it's kind of like, episodes like what Look Before You Sleep, like, okay, in both of those scenarios, that and Fall Weather Friends, it is more the other pony's fault and less Applejack's fault, but it's, okay, that doesn't necessarily mean they can't still both be wrong. Like, in both scenarios, true, Applejack, well, in Look Before You Sleep, Applejack kind of has to reach out at the end. It's like, okay, so she is kind of the bigger person right now, so, okay, be the bigger person, and you can make this right. And in Fall Weather Friends, it's like, okay, well, it was more Rainbow's fault, but no, Applejack became just as bad, and she did have to reconcile there, and it's...
I totally agree with you. I also feel like it has these golden moments, but I really like the ending where they're running besides each other, and it just ends with them being, good friends again, or how to say that,
and I mean,
even though that they compete.
And the other thing, like Applejack, even though they compete, like, even though Applejack got competitive with Rainbow, afterwards it speaks for itself. Nobody considers Applejack a bad sport afterwards. That's still something they put on Rainbow. So, okay, it's kind of what I liked about, especially those earlier episodes. Like, a lot of stuff could just sort of speak for itself.
Yeah.
And plus, Applejack versus Rainbow Dash, that's gotta be fun. It is fun. I mean,
Actually, I was thinking about the moral. Is it like learning that it's not important to win, actually? Or is it
that was sort of it. Or like, just, yeah, maybe kind of a worry about yourself.
Yeah,
That's sort of a moral, like,
yeah.
like they're
I guess I'm not thinking too
tricking
much
each
about
other,
it.
and and Twilight too. Just heck, I'm gonna just go apply what I do know to this. Just have a good time. She surprisingly came in fifth, and okay, thank goodness it wasn't first. Like they could
have been done that. Yeah,
that's the other thing about the earlier episodes. They were willing to pay mind to some sort to realism.
Yeah,
just on some level. What was it? So. But yeah, I mean, heck, I almost wasn't sure like how to rate this episode early on. I was just like, this was awesome! Applejack versus Rainbow Dash. I mean, that's a ton of fun. But I was like, okay, but can I say it's a great story? And you know what? Yes, I can. But it was just a different sort of appeal at the time, and now I'm not sure exactly how good to consider it. So,
it's your list.
Wind blows it in third place. Over to you.
Well, number 2, you're going to love this. It's Somepony to watch over me.
Please.
Triggered. No, just kidding.
Hey, that's insensitive to use that term.
I really like, I just can see myself really much in this episode, and I know that it's going to sound crazy, but taking care of your siblings, being overprotective of your friends, and yeah, of course, you as well. I guess, like, you'll notice that I have this...
Seriously, she is, though. You are awesome. But heck, they didn't come here for that sap. Moving on.
But just like this with Applejack putting on all of these helmets, it's just like, I can see me and my brother, trying to overprotect my brother, but he was also a little sick when he was younger, so I do see, like, and Apple Bloom going out and stuff and being almost killed by the manticore, what it is, the camera. I just love all of this with her, Applejack trying to be like, explaining that she needed all of this stuff, like she should have learned her sister beforehand, but it's also, I think, like, it's also trying to be like, it's too early for Apple Bloom to, you know, go out, almost like telling, like, yeah, it's good to be overprotective, but not this overprotective. And I just really love that she's coming in and saving her sister, and everything goes good with the, you know, delivery and all of that stuff. But thankfully none of them got hurt. Like, I was really actually thinking like maybe the episode would go where something would happen to Apple Bloom, actually. Because something did happen to my brother, but yeah, it's like, I was like, yeah, just see how you're supposed to take care of your siblings and your family and so on. I don't know, I just feel really like the episode, and also like all of these effects with the grounds that Apple Bloom goes in with the fire and the camera and everything, like visual stuff, and the Applejack jumping out in the black galoshes, or how to say that.
I mean, like, on one hand, I do kind of see what this episode was going for.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not an episode that just, doesn't have a brain in its head that just is. It's not a what's that Spike episode? Spike at Your Service or something like that, where it's just like, hey, a bunch of stupid stuff. Isn't that funny? No, it like. There is an intention, there's a purpose there, but I mean, it's, and I get that, okay, sometimes making the characters over-the-top versions of themselves is part of the appeal, but I mean, I might say this episode just kind of plain took it too far. Like, it's certifiably insane.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gets to the point where it is kind of fun. Like, I mean, it started repeating jokes on me, and I'm just like, I'm just like, Yeah, like I always do when it dumb humor like that. I'm like, please just cut it out. Like,
I think I like
rein it in,
more.
and instead it takes it more and more and more over the
yeah,
top.
yeah.
Where I'm like, I can't even be mad at it anymore. Like, here's a safety helmet, and I'll always be there for you. Here's another like the safety helmet to wear over the safety helmet.
I just love it. I don't know.
I mean, it actually starts to become kind of funny in its insanity, and I mean, and I just, well, where I don't swing all the way around to liking it, though, is that, I mean, it's almost just, like, too disconnected, like Applejack. I mean, I don't, well, I mean, heck, when they make Rainbow Dash over the top, okay, it still feels like Rainbow Dash. It feels like the episode is, well, heck, it's like when they, I don't know, when they break into non-didactic songs or something like that. It's like, okay, you figure maybe that's not actually how the character comes across, or at least not how they see themselves in that moment, but it's like, okay, it's both, yeah, it's something to help you get the picture, both like, okay, yeah, it's...
But I actually have a counterpoint to that, because you are not yourself when you're trying to, you know, overprotect.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen them make characters over the top, like Twilight in Lesson Zero, Rainbow Dash, and okay, it's pointing out how it's funny, how you can make fun of it, but also what the emotion is there, like, all at the same time, and in a way where, okay, you do believe that this is how Twilight or Rainbow feels, this is what goes into it. I don't really believe it in Applejack here. I feel like they just decided to kind of dial down her intelligence more than a few notches.
Again, I will defend and say, like, you don't think too much if you're defending, again, the ones that you love. You will take away everything if it means, like, protecting your family or those you love.
Like,
me and my sappy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in, like, with some stronger writing, I mean, it was Scott Cinnaborn's first episode.
Yeah, I
could have bought it, I just...
a little bit with this, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but you had a
number 2, right? Same for me. Yeah, number 2 is Applebuck season.
Oh, interesting.
Like, this... the first Applejack episode, and still one of the best as far as I'm concerned, and, like, this is almost the opposite of Fall Weather Friends, though, because, I mean, like, it introduced so many of the show's strengths, like the ways that Pinkie Pie can be really funny, and just her sort of Pinkie's gonna Pinkie kind of the very ground is shaking, we're all about to be stampeded, run for your lives, hey, this makes my voice sound silly. Yeah, okay, and this was the original Applejack stubbornness plot at a time where, okay, it hadn't run that into the ground. It was like, okay, this episode actually fully wants to get something out of Applejack's character by talking about how she's stubborn, and and it's not just a cliff note at the end or something, like, no, it's looking at that over time, how she becomes more determined, okay, even as she's falling to pieces. It's like, okay, if I can just keep pushing through, I don't have to ask for anyone's help. I can get there. Until finally, how do you like them apples?
Yeah.
Big Mac, I mean, heck, this is probably one of Big Mac's better showings, too.
Yeah, I do agree with that, yeah.
First one, like, okay, they give him a couple more lines. I mean, in some respects, then it does feel like, okay, an earlier sort of a take before they'd fallen into just the formula of it. But okay, that's almost what I like. You know, it doesn't always have to be formula with Big Mac, and this is one of the times where it wasn't, where you get to see sort of his taciturn wisdom, his, understated sort of personality, and, where he's not even looking to show Applejack up. He's just like, okay, you know where this is going to go if you keep insisting on it. Like, he's just kind of willing to wait to be proven right.
He's a really good brother in this episode, yeah, I think so, yeah. And the others are also doing a great job. I think, like, especially Twilight with the trying to help her, even though that...
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a good showing for Twilight, too, like how she can, okay, now that she's said she wants to be these ponies' friends and she means it, okay, what she brings to the table, how she can be sort of a leader and all that, and, it's a good showing for her. And I normally don't go for just repetitive hijinks, but, okay, I mean, heck, what can I say? They were fun here. They put in the creativity, they... And I mean, it's not... The hijinks themselves are not just the point. The point is still how Applejack is, doing other ponies no favors by, going into each of these favors overcooked. By, messing them up, and I mean... Yeah. And they get creative, like, with the ways she messes them up, with how being so tired and overworked is hindering her, and I mean... It just all works, but okay, I did say it's kind of the opposite of Fall Weather Friends, because it introduced so much of what's good about this show in general. Like, it was, come the end of the first season, it was, I mean, I assumed it was always going to be a shoo-in for one of my all-time favorites. Now I'm not so sure. I don't know if this episode would make my top 20, for example. I'm not even sure it's really better than Fall Weather Friends. It's like, okay, initial reaction, but it's like, okay, well, I mean... I feel like I had the same reaction, while this is really good, to a lot of other episodes, including in Season 1, and like that, but even better, and it's like, now that I've had it enough times, I'm like, okay, I mean, it's, on its own terms, Applebuck Season is definitely one of the great ones, but how much so? Like, I'm almost waiting for even more time to pass so I can, watch it again and be like, alright, is it gonna turn out that it really was as good as all that, or is it gonna be... just another one of those episodes that, like...
You can always watch the episodes later. Again.
It's great, but I mean, it's like, it's been topped. I mean, it's very, very rare that I ever question what my, like, initial resolve was, but I mean, every so often I run into little conundrums like this. But,
Oh, I see something fun. Do you want to see number 1 in 3, 2, 1?
Alright then, you peaked. Okay, 3, 2, 1, Simple Ways. And everybody, whenever I say that this is my favorite Applejack episode, it's like, I just thought it was another typical... Okay, yeah, on the surface, it looks like it's a typical one. I mean, it has a typical sort of premise. Applejack and Rarity switch places, or Rarity thinks she needs to act more like Applejack, but alright. And you know what, even I was questioning myself like that. I mean, because Season 4 took a really long time to get going. Like, even Pinky's Pride, while great in its own right, I had problems with. And then I saw Simple Ways, and I was like, this is what I was waiting for, this was so much fun. And then, okay, but then Season 4 got its other great episodes in, and I'm like, okay, well, was I just maybe, hoping for an episode that didn't do anything stupid, that was just managed to be fun in its own right, and okay, watched it again, same thing.
Yeah.
So it is a fantastic episode masquerading as a typical one. Just like every single moment, that not even that it's like a Pinkie Pie episode where they try to put in like the most high-energy, zany comedy, even though there's some of that too, but it's just like every single moment, it's having fun with it, it's thinking about what would go really well here. Even the voice acting, right down to that, just like, oh, I love the little bit with, Twilight, hey, Trenderhouse here, you say hi, get too tight, just like Tabitha St. Germain. She's having a blast in moments like that. And, oh, see, I go from place to place in Equestria, I study the, mundane, the something, and the underappreciated, pointing right at Derpy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I mean...
So cute.
Yeah. Like, I mean, everybody wants to, like, the great episodes are, like, the most dramatic or the most visually big and, like, creative, but I mean, you know, okay, I think nuance counts for something, too, and I mean, just, it's... this is why I love and hate subtlety at the same time, because it's so hard to explain why subtlety is great. It's like, well, it's like... how that's a story about this. Well, okay, haven't we seen 100,000 stories like this? But this one is better because, but I mean, so help me it is. It's just Rarity is, you really, really feel for her in this episode. And you feel for Trenderhoof too. I mean, like, it would have been so easy to make him another Prince Blue Blood, like, oh, why did I even care about him? But no, he has sort of his arc in a way. He's learning the same lesson as Rarity. He's not a bad guy. He just, maybe needs to, realize that, okay, he's not doing Applejack any favors, he's not doing himself any favors, like, this is heading in a bad direction, and Rarity, okay, having had to learn the same lesson, is able to say that at the end, and he's able to, okay, take it in and accept it, but, I did say it doesn't always do, like, Pinkie Pie zaniness, sometimes it does, like, oh, this is so exciting, Pinkie Pie herself, oh, I'm so excited, I can't even, I can't wait. Her head just inflates, and then they cut back to it later, and she's still just floating there, like, hey, you know, yeah, what is the aftermath in some of these cartoon gags? She's still just floating there.
Probably.
Oh, this is so exciting, I can't even stand up straight. And the battle of wills between Rarity and Applejack at the end, like, they don't even say exactly what, the thought process is. Like, you don't even know if Applejack and Rarity totally get what they're doing. Well, Applejack kind of does, like, you know.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Where, I mean, it's like, okay, well, why is talking about how great you are going to do anything? But it's like, no, Applejack, she, heck, you really believe she knows Rarity in that moment, because, it's kind of like, okay, let's see how far I can push this, just like, I smell like roses, life is a banquet, and everyone should celebrate by looking just like me. Rarity, like, I wear droopy drawers, my boobs are cracked from working in the field, I love being covered in mud! Alright. And Applejack having the reaction everybody should be having when Rarity first introduces herself as Hillbilly Rarity. And it's like, okay, that's where, Applejack, perfect moment for honest Applejack. She doesn't hesitate even a little to... Rarity, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And yes, it is. But, I mean, at the same time, she's not trying to hurt Rarity's feelings. And when Rarity starts insisting on it, it's like, no, come on, Rarity, I know you.
Yeah.
This is not...
It's not her,
Oy. I mean, just didn't see, like, okay, it's simple on the surface, but just every single moment they're putting so much into it. You really can't talk about this episode that much. But I'm doing all the talking here, so I better shut up.
Oh. Well, I just see myself and my friend in this episode so much, because we actually had almost like this in real life, because there was this guy that was interested in me, but my friend wanted him, right? So we like almost did all of the same stuff actually at the episode, like her being like, well, I want to be like more, I guess, tomboyish and listen to heavy metal, and I was just like, oh, you and your frou-frou pink stuff and stuff like that. It was just so funny. And I just loved Trenderhoof in this episode, because like the first time I saw him, I was just like, how did they get in my pony? Sure, no, I'm just kidding.
Shots fired!
It's just like them, you know, competing. Or I know that Applejack is not competing over him, but I just like love everything with this. I also really love Spike in this. Him being like, racing
Spike, do you know what that's like?
You just really feel for him. You're just like, oh, poor Spike. It's just like, okay. But them going on this tangent, and especially seeing like Applejack in this dress, I just see myself being like coming out in, I actually wore one of her dresses coming out, you know, that door, and being like, oh, you want me to look like this?
This is not real life, really?
No.
Oh, no?
Oh, it was, but yeah. I think you would like to see me in that dress, though.
Boy.
I'm never going to go in it again.
Well, maybe. I'll try to talk her into it. No. Not that any of you get to see, but...
No. But I also really love the ending in the... simple ways, with Trenderhoof asking Granny Smith to dance. Mm-hmm. Because guess what happened with the friend there? He asked the grandma to dance instead. My grandma.
Oh, I know you're making this up.
No! She can tell you the story, my grandma, one day, I guess. But no luck there. My grandma is very strict, so no.
Oh, so she turned him down?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's real life.
And I also really like the moral of this, with not being, taking jealousy to our level, or how to say that. Mm. I guess that's what I see in the moral, but I can be wrong.
fair enough.
Yeah, and knowing each other, being good friends and all of this, yeah. And sometimes you just need to, yeah, tell people, like, you're not interested, I guess.
Yeah. There's kind of a self-respect moral too, like Rarity. Yeah. Okay, you know, don't forget to, yeah, take pride in what you are. To say, okay,
who you
well,
are and
you
stuff
should
like that.
be able to appreciate that if
yeah,
you're
you
going
should need to learn to love yourself before you give yourself to others.
What was that soap opera from Enchanted? Like, how do you expect me to love you or to like you? You don't even like yourself.
Yeah. Also, like, I do believe, like, the reason why Applejack is my favorite is because she's the element of honesty, and I really go in for being open and honest.
Mm.
So, or at least I try as much as I can.
Worthiness, which you know, heck, I feel like they could have sold me on Applejack, like with Applebuck season, Fall with Her Friends, all of that. Like I kind of feel like she was possibly the star player of season 1, or at very least one of them. It's just I do kind of unfortunately side with the criticism saying she fell off the rails a little bit, and in fact, you could argue that the later seasons, which are not my favorite, I mean, well, most of the time, like heck, even the seasons that a lot of fans are stick up for by saying, well, they're done with the main 6. How can you expect them to get anything good out of it? You could argue that a lot of them did Applejack better.
Yeah, I do agree. But it was also, I think, hard to make this top 5 because you have to take all of the seasons, not just season 1, and, you know, take into account which one you feel is better. Maybe I will. Yeah.
Oh, well, for me it was easy. I take my best episodes very seriously.
Yeah.
I know with very little effort already which ones are my favorites.
Okay. Great.
I spent a long time savoring them.
Like a fine wine or what? Pony wine doesn't sound very good.
I've heard of worse things.
Oh, really?
You know, Francis Ford Coppola has a wine, although that makes sense because Godfather.
Yeah, that's true.
High-class gangsters.
But I actually thinking, like, maybe I will, Applejack will agree more with me with my list, or maybe
I mean, all of those episodes have their defenders. I mean, heck, I technically like all of them. Even Somepony to Watch Over Me, I'm like, it almost has a so bad it's good appeal, more like so insane it's good. I mean, I'm not unentertained by it. I don't even think it's dumb. It has some clever jokes in there. Just if I made my 10 worst list, it probably wouldn't be on it now. It might have been a few seasons ago when there just plain and simply weren't 10 bad episodes, but
But I like the top 5 best instead of worst.
Well, yeah, heck, top 5 worst. I mean, like, maybe 1 or 2 episodes that I actually don't like per character.
Yeah. So we're
if even that.
not
So
going to do that.
Alright, maybe just plain top 5 worst episodes, but let us know what you think, whatever one you want to see next. We're on the main 6 right now, so feel free to tell us below what else you'd like to see, or which main 6 you'd like to see next if we...
actually main 7, right? Because we also have Starlight.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she counts, but we're gonna do her anyway, but yeah. If we put this up before we have all the other ones recorded, feel free to tell us the order you'd like whichever one you'd like to be next below.
Sure.
So, bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.